Good afternoon, everybody. Big Mike back here with you once again. Welcome back to Big Mike Talks, where today I'm going to give you my recap of TNA No Surrender and WWE Elimination Chamber. Two very entertaining shows for two very different reasons. So I want y'all to sit back, relax, and let's get into them. As we start off with TNA No Surrender. We start off with a previously unannounced match. It got announced on TNA before No Surrender, so like 24 hours before, which is kind of funny. It's Eric Young versus Frankie Kazarian, with the winner getting a future TNA World Heavyweight title shot. And this was pretty much basic old school TNA. These are a couple of TNA OGs who know each other really, really well, including an attempt at a top rope fade to black by Frankie that got countered by Eric Young into a powerbomb. Near the end of the match, Frankie goes for a fade to black again, only getting a 2 count. Eric Young with the roll up for the 1, 2, 3. And that gets EY a title shot. Post-match, EY leaves the ring, celebrating up the ramp. Kaz is having a one-on-one with the referee. Ref goes to leave. Kaz goes to grab him. Ref is just kind of out of reach. So ref's like, oh, I gotta back up. Grabs the ref by the loop of his pants and just beats the stuffing out of him. More officials come out to make the save, try to cool down Kaz. That happens, then Kaz leaves the ring. So, is Kaz going to cost Eric Young this title opportunity? It's possible, but I guess we'll see. Next up, we got an interview with the Grizzled Young Veterans backstage, saying they came for the TNA tag titles. We've conquered all of Europe, and we're not stopping there. And tonight, for the champs, it's not going to be pretty. And when you see us coming, grit your teeth. Oh, I love that tagline. It's so good. We then go right into that match, the third of the best of 3 series, and it's for the TNA Tag Team Championships. As the ABC, that's the Ace and Bay connection. And it does seem like they've gotten rid of their ties to Bullet Club, which is interesting. Like brand new music, attire with less Bullet Club stuff on it. So maybe they've become their own entity, which I think might be beneficial for Ace and Bay, as they take on the Grizzled Young Veterans, James Drake and Zach Gibson. And this was their absolute best match of the series. They left the best for last, and this was awesome. There were attempts at the 1-2 sweep. That's the Order of Finesse and the Fold, but the Veterans were in on it. Grizzled Young Veterans were going for a Doomsday device. Chris Bay counters out of it. Then an Order of Finesse into the Fold for the 1-2 sweep. Your winners, still tag team champions, the Ace and Bay connection. And I'm just going to say this. I know the Grizzled Young Veterans are technically not signed to TNA, but I would like to see them stay for at least a little bit longer. I'd like to see them capture the tag team titles. Maybe give them another shot down the line. But yeah, honestly, round of applause. We then go to a promo with Macklin and the Rascals backstage. Rascals pretty much saying, yeah, we run the tag division. Macklin saying, yeah, we're running all divisions, and I ran Nick Nemeth out of TNA. Then in comes Mike Bailey and Trent. They're being held back by security. They don't come to blows, so it looks like we're going to get a tag match between them soon. Hopefully. And we'll see what happens with Nemeth. Next matchup, we got PCO versus Khan. And yeah, this was a super heavyweight hoss fight. Definitely not a typical match, which is fine. PCO goes for the D-animator, like almost off the bat, but Khan misses. And then near the end, Khan goes into the ring, grabs a chair. This is not a no DQ match. Hits PCO with the chair, causing the DQ win for PCO. And, beatdown continues up the ramp. PCO keeps getting up. Then, all of a sudden, Khan gets a zip tie. Zip ties PCO to the stage entrance. And just does the neck snap move, which I think that's the most awkward move I've ever seen him do, but we'll see what happens. And yeah, he leaves PCO laying. We then go backstage for the Motor City Machine Guns. That's Chris Sabin and Alex Shelley, Kushida and Kevin Knight. They're talking about the world title match. Sabin wants to be out there for Alex Shelley, but Shelley's like, nah, I got two great guys in my corner. You focus on Ali. So, it looks like maybe a rift forming between the Guns. I don't know, I think that could be an interesting story going forward. Next, we go to the Knockouts Tag Team title match, as MK Ultra challenges Decay. MK Ultra being represented by Killer Kelly and Masha Slamovich. Decay, that's Havoc and Rosemary. And, this was a decent match. Definitely some hoss fight-ish like stuff between Slamovich and Havoc. At one point, you have Killer Kelly kind of pinning Rosemary, but they're like face to face. So then Rosemary sits up, they're face to face, and then they just kind of kiss, which is kind of funny. And then Masha Slamovich, kind of out of nowhere, with a snowplow for the win for MK Ultra, who regained their tag titles. I mean, it's kind of hot potatoing, but I kind of get it. I'm glad Decay's back. Maybe they hang out for the tag titles for a bit longer. Post-match, MK Ultra continue their attack on Decay, but out to make the save is Danny Luna and Jody Threat, who have already put their name on the next tag team title shot. So, decent little match, with a interesting follow-up angle, I'll say. Next up, oh boy, this is going to be a fight. It's Josh Alexander making his TNA pay-per-view debut, Simon Gotch, formerly of the Vaudevillains, if you remember him. Match kind of started slow at the beginning, although that's kind of Gotch's style. But then, once they got into Gear 2, all hell broke out. Including dueling crossfaces and ankle locks. Definitely a nasty looking crossbody to the outside. Josh then gets Simon Gotch in the ankle lock. Gotch gets in the ropes. Josh Alexander with the nastiest looking backbreaker I've ever seen. Right into the C4 spike for him to pick up the victory. So, nice fun little match. Nice debut for Gotch. and we continue the momentum for Josh Alexander, who will hopefully get his title rematch soon. Next up, we go backstage. We have Rich Swann. He's watching this on a monitor. In comes AJ Francis, the former Top Dollar. He says, look, it must kill you to see former world champion like Josh Alexander thrive while you're just sitting back here not doing anything. Then Rich Swann turns around to face him. He says, like, dude, are you messing with me right now? He says, no, I'm doing far from the truth. And look, just because we have a match this coming Thursday doesn't mean we have to be enemies. So, Francis playing a little mind games, trying to recruit himself a crew, which, not a bad idea. Next up is the most convoluted sounding match I think I've ever heard. It's for the TNA World Heavyweight title, and it's a no surrender match. Basically, there's no pinfalls, no submissions. Only way you win is your outside corner man who has a towel, throws in the towel for you. That's it. The match itself is also no DQ. However, the people on the outside can't get involved, causing a DQ. I don't know. I think it's TNA trying to do something different, but it kind of falling on its face. So in this world title match, we got the World Heavyweight Champion Moose being seconded by Eddie Edwards, Alicia Edwards, and Brian Myers to take on Alex Shelley, the former champion, who in his corner is Kushida and Kevin Knight. So, Alex Shelley's side at a disadvantage already. Shelley, right off the bat, tries to go for a Border City stretch, but Moose gets out of it. Moose with definitely some wicked power moves to open it up. Eventually, they fall to the outside. Alex Shelley grabs a chair. Moose then with an eye poke to have him drop the chair. And then Moose then sets up Alex Shelley's foot in the chair and just stomps on it. Like, good lord, that was a brutal move. Alex Shelley a little later on tries for the figure four. That gets blocked. An up kick into the ring post, which that was interesting. At multiple points, you had both sides putting their... at one point, someone takes off the turnbuckle pad of one of the turnbuckles, exposing the steel part in which, part of it, the back that connects it to the ring post is open. So what the competitors did is put the fingers into that slot and hit it with a chair. Like, good lord, how do you not have broken fingers after that? Then the system starts skirting the rules as they get some tables, which, that's always good. Moose then grabs it, sets it up. Goes for a spear, misses, almost into the table. A low blow by Shelley into the Border City stretch. But while he's in that move, Myers, who has brass knuckles, puts it on Moose's hand, and Moose just gets out of it. Sets up for the spear again. Alex Shelley moves, and Moose gets through the table. Then Kushida grabs Alex Shelley a chain. He tries to wrap it around his fist and hit Moose with it, but Moose hits a big old spear on Alex Shelley. Then Moose grabs the chain, wraps it around his, over his shoulder, around his back, and then hits a big old spear on Alex Shelley. And then on the outside, you could see Kushida. He has the towel. He's like, I don't want to do this, but... You could see just how much he didn't want to do that. But ultimately, your winner is Moose. And then post-match, one last spear for the road. So Moose retains his title in a kind of convoluted, but it also kind of worked match. Like, the entire match, I wouldn't say edge of my seat, but it was definitely a very entertaining matchup. Let's see what TNA comes up with in the near future. Now, before the next match begins, we have Ash by Elegance sitting ringside, taking in our semi-main event for No Surrender, and it's for the Knockouts title, as Jordynne Grace takes on Giselle Shaw. And, ooh, boy, this was a fun little match. Actually, right at the bell, Grace goes right after Giselle Shaw, who ducks out of the ring, runs around the ring, trying to avoid Grace, who's like right behind her. She then changes directions and just eats a big old clothesline, and then a powerbomb onto the apron, goes back in. Grace is dominating for a little bit, but then Shaw kind of makes a little bit of a comeback, uses their skill. Nice little DDT into a senton, but only for a 2 count. A couple of times, Grace went for the Juggernaut driver, but that got blocked by Shaw. And then Shaw with a Spanish fly from the apron to the outside, which was phenomenal, but also downright freaking scary, man. Like, I hope they didn't get hurt on that. Eventually, they do get back in. Shaw goes for a cutter, but that gets blocked into a roll-up for only a 2. Eventually, Grace gets the Juggernaut driver to pick up the win. So, Jordynne Grace, still your Knockouts champion. And we'll see what the rest of the year brings for the Juggernaut. We then get a little backstage promo from Jake Something, saying, TNA has the whole world watching. Debatable. I got my eye on this main event, because in 2024 is when I take the X Division title. So we do have a direction for Jake Something. Hopefully we do something with it. And our main event for No Surrender. And it's for the TNA X Division Championship, as Chris Sabin defends against the debuting Mustafa Ali. And Ali comes out. He's got the Secret Service guys with him. He's got these spiky elbow pads, which is just funny to look at. And honestly, it's almost like right off the bat, boom, they're off to the races. Like, big move after big move. Ali goes for a 450, but Sabin gets his knees up. Sabin a couple of times goes for a Border City stretch, but that got blocked. Ali bringing the uppercuts too, man. Like, that's crazy. At one point, Ali is on the outside, but security is surrounding him. And then Sabin just dives, misses Ali, but hits the security guards, which is funny. They get back in the ring. Then the Good Hands, who are wearing Trust in Ali shirts, which I kind of want one of those. Enough of a distraction for Ali to get back into it. Sabin with a cradle shock, which only gets a 2 count, which, that's surprising. Satan goes for a cradle shock from the top rope. Ali blocks it into a sunset flip powerbomb from the top. He goes back up, hits the 450 splash to win and gain the X Division title. That main event was one of the most exciting I've seen in a while. It was very, very entertaining. I'm going to put it on my must-watch match list, because that was a heck of a good match. And if you haven't seen No Surrender yet, go find it. Go give it a watch. It was awesome. So that was TNA No Surrender. We now go to WWE's Elimination Chamber, which took place from Perth, Australia. Now, little bit of a caveat for me. I did not watch this on its initial broadcast because I am not awake at 5 a.m. So I instead watched the replay, which apparently those of a lot of you who watched live saw that there was only like so much wrestling, which, alright, I kind of understand, but it's if it's something you have a gripe with, that's fine. So we are going to first start off with the Women's Elimination Chamber match. Starting us off white hot as Naomi takes on Tiffany Stratton, Becky Lynch, Bianca Belair, Raquel Rodriguez, and Liv Morgan. Now, the rules of this match is 2 people start in the match in the ring. The rest are in pods that are released on timed intervals. If you get a pinfall or submission on a competitor, they are eliminated and they have to leave the chamber. Last person standing is the winner. And the 2 to start, the 2 that haven't mixed it up in a while. And it was great to see Naomi and Becky Lynch. Ooh, these 2 have had wars in the past. And this was no different, man. They picked up right where they left off. And it was great to see. Participant number 3, it's Tiffany Stratton. And she was the MVP of this chamber. She did all kinds of great stuff, including later on a crossbody from the top of the pod onto a group of people, which that was awesome. Participant number 4 it's Liv Morgan. She recently just returned at the Royal Rumble, and she definitely brings it in this chamber, including getting into a bit of a scrap with Becky Lynch, which was crazy. Speaking of Becky, she gets the disarm her on Tiffany Stratton, but Stratton fights right the heck out, including a nasty powerbomb. But then, coming up, after a powerbomb from Liv Morgan, Tiffany throws her out of the way, pins Naomi for the first elimination, which, honestly, I thought was a little weird, but, Naomi just came back from TNA, so maybe she's got some catching up to do. Participant number 5 in Raquel Rodriguez, and she just starts powering everybody in the ring. Liv Morgan tries for a Hurricane Rana, but that just gets caught by Raquel, and then she just swings her into the chamber head first, which, oh god. Raquel tries for a double Tejana bomb, but then everyone pretty much hits her with everything they got. And our last participant in the chamber, it's Bianca Belair, the EST. And she goes right after Raquel. Everyone's pretty much fighting off the rope. At one point, Tiffany... no, it's actually Liv who's on top. of one of the chamber pods. Tiffany and Becky Lynch then go up to the top, try to get her. She does a crossbody onto everyone below. And Becky then looks at Tiffany and is like, alright. And they just start brawling. Which, that was funny. Tries for a manhandle slam, but that gets blocked. And then Becky gets tossed off the pod, which that looked really scary. Liv hit an Oblivion on Tiffany Stratton for elimination, which got a really negative reaction from the crowd, including for me. Stratton, I think, was the MVP of this one, easily. And hopefully she gets a push somewhere down the line, because she deserves it. A little bit later on, Becky Lynch gets Raquel in a disarmor, but Raquel powers out. Tries for a powerbomb, but that gets blocked. Liv tries for an Oblivion, but that gets caught into a powerbomb. And then Bianca with a KOD. That eliminates Raquel Rodriguez. Bianca with a military press slam into a moonsault for a 2. Tries for a KOD, but Becky Lynch is holding the top rope, so that gets countered. And then there was this weird section where it looks like Bianca was going to suplex... I think it was... Who was it? I think it was Liv into the pod, but she counters it, kind of springboards off the top rope, and then hits a gnarly looking DDT. Like, that was nuts. Liv tries for a 450, but that gets the knees up. Bianca tries for a KOD, but that gets countered. Liv with a code breaker. Bianca tries for the KOD again. That gets blocked into a roll-up. Bianca gets eliminated right into a manhandle slam from Becky Lynch, who at last eliminates Liv Morgan to pick up the victory. A very much deserved win for Becky Lynch, although a little bit spoiled from the WrestleMania presser from Vegas before the Super Bowl. But honestly, that match is going to rule. Kind of spoiler alert for the main event. So, that was a very entertaining chamber. A little fast for my tastes, but I can understand why. My only other real nitpick is with one of the entrances. When Naomi made her entrance, it was pretty much middle of the day. And, with the sun up, Naomi's entrance doesn't really work. So, little nitpick, nothing major. Overall, very entertaining chamber match. We then go to this next matchup, and it's for the tag team titles, as the New Catch Republic, that's Tyler Bate and Pete Dunne. From now on, I'm going to call them British Strong Style. Take on Finn Balor and Damian Priest of Judgment Day. And actually, before the match starts, Dom tries to cut a promo, but the entire crowd is just booing him. And then Dunne and Bate ultimately take him out of the ring. Match starts off, and away we go. And it looks like British Strong Style have the advantage early, cornering Finn Balor into their section of the ring. Eventually, Priest does get in the ring, and he just rolls right over these guys. Eventually, Pete Dunne does get the finger snap, which, God, that hurts just thinking about. And then the entire time, Dom is just being called a wanker by the Australian crowd, which is just, it's music to my ears. Eventually, on a pinfall attempt, Dom actually just reaches in, grabs out Tyler Bate, and Bate's like, "What are you doing to me?" And the ref is looking, and she's like, "Okay, I see what's going on here." Dom's on the apron, he's arguing, "No, I didn't do nothing. And the ref throws him out of the match. So Dom is forced to go to the back. But that gets Priest back up. He's looking for a Razor's Edge, but that gets countered into a Rana, in which that gets right into Finn Balor, who was on the top rope looking for a coup de grace. British Strong Style with a Burning Hammer, which is a double Burning Hammer, which, that was impressive. Yes, boys. Then Dunn and Bate with some double teaming, with some big old beatdown of Finn Balor. Eventually, Judgment Day get back into it. Priest with the South of Heaven. Balor with the coup de grace for the victory. And honestly, this was pretty entertaining. As much as I wish Dunn and Bate would have won the tag team titles here, I'm okay with Judgment Day holding them for now. But I do think it's time for a title change. And then this is where we get a little strange, as it's time for the Grayson Waller effect. Theory introduces Waller, who does a shoey with an Australian celebrity ringside, which, if you don't know what a shoey is, take a can of beer, dump it into one of their shoes, and they drink it. I don't understand it, but it looks weird. Then Grayson Waller calls today the greatest day in his life. And before we get started, I want to do one thing. Aussie, Aussie, Aussie! Oi, oi, oi! I love that. This is the most babyface Waller has been maybe ever. And it endeared me to him. Maybe he's not as big as a wanker as I thought. So then, Grayson Waller brings out his guests. World Heavyweight Champion Seth Rollins, Cody Rhodes. Waller wants to acknowledge Roman Reigns, in which the crowd is like, no. Big boos. Then Waller asked Rollins, who from the Chamber do you want to face at WrestleMania? Rollins calls the Chamber stacked, and whoever's going to come out of the Chamber is going to earn it. And then he says, look, I got some inside info for you guys. You guys want to hear it? I am days away from being cleared to compete. That gets a big old cheer, including from me. I'm glad he's getting to the other side of his injury. And you know what that means? Whoever's the winner of the Chamber doesn't stand a chance. And I'm going to do the only thing I can at WrestleMania, put on a performance of a lifetime. And then Grayson Waller pivots to Cody Rhodes, who says, look, you pretty much took we were moments away from getting the biggest main event of WrestleMania history, Rock versus Roman, but you took that away from us. Do you feel like people think you're selfish from taking that away from us? Then Cody goes into, democracy mode, kind of, pretty much saying, look, I'm a fan of The Rock. But if he were here today, he'd just do all of his catchphrases, including, what did he call my fans? Cody Crybabies? Any Cody Crybabies in the house? House goes nuts, which, big ups. Then Cody Rhodes continues, one thing Rock didn't want to talk about on SmackDown is that he's the one who put us into this situation. While he calls himself the People's Champ, if you really were the People's Champ, you'd be around the people a lot longer. Which got a bit of a pop from the crowd. Then Cody continues, look, Rollins, you just had that announcement that you're almost cleared to compete. I've got a little bit of an announcement myself. He goes over the events of the WrestleMania 40 presser. Says, while I am taking on your cousin at WrestleMania, until then, my books are wide open. And Rock, I want to wrestle you one-on-one, anywhere, at any time. Ooh. Yes, please. And then Seth chimes in, it's time we cut the head off this snake once and for all. But, Cody, you should know, you and we all know that when it comes to the bloodline, we all know that this won't be a one-on-one. So no, you won't be alone in this fight. And I got your back. Then Austin Theory interrupts with some of the best character work he's ever done by parodying The Rock. Which, could be worse. And then as he is doing, if you smell, Seth Rollins attacks Austin Theory. Cody hits a Cody cutter. While Waller is just chilling on the back ropes like, yeah, go for it. Seth Rollins hit the stomp and ends the segment. As much as I want to give this a downvote, as much I want to say is, oh, that was pointless. I get what they're going for here. They're trying to build a united front against the Bloodline. And, we'll see what goes down coming up to WrestleMania. And speaking of, we now move to the Men's Elimination Chamber match. Our participants, Drew McIntyre, L.A. Knight, the Viper, Randy Orton, Logan Paul, the United States Champion, the prize fighter, Kevin Owens, and the almighty Bobby Lashley, who apparently is dealing with an elbow injury, which, okay, hope he's alright. Match starts off with Knight and McIntyre, and they are not holding back in this one. Like, as soon as Knight gets a little bit of an upper hand, McIntyre counters. Bunch of Glasgow kisses, which is headbutts, which is just brutal. Third man in, the almighty Bobby Lashley. And he goes right for Drew McIntyre. And honestly, I wouldn't mind seeing that match one-on-one in the near future. And they just start beating on each other, including Drew doing some head smashes into the mat. That was brutal looking. Next man in, the Viper, Randy Orton, who goes right for Knight, which that was very, very interesting. Goes for the middle rope DDT, but that misses. Bobby Lashley with a spear on Orton, goes for a spear for Knight, that misses. Gets a DDT on him. Next man in, it's Kevin Owens, who, does his thing for a little bit, cannonballs everybody for a little bit, for a long time. And our last man in, it's Logan Paul. And as soon, before the timer hits 0, Kevin Owens kind of pops up, stares at Logan Paul while he's in his pod, and Logan's trying to keep the door closed as it's trying to open. Owens gets in, starts just beating the heck out of the poor guy. Eventually gets him out, but then Lashley spearing everybody through the pods, which that was crazy. Gets back in the ring, eats a Claymore, and Lashley is the first man eliminated. Randy Orton tries for an RKO on LA Knight that gets blocked. A couple of BFTs from LA Knight, and as he's going for the pinfall, in through the open door as Bobby Lashley is leaving is AJ Styles. He hits the chair, hits LA Knight a couple of times with the chair, hits a Styles clash, and the officials get him out. And then Randy Orton covers him, eliminates LA Knight. Then Kevin Owens gets up. He runs house for a little bit, including a couple nasty looking swantons. Hits a pop-up powerbomb, goes for a stunner. Blocks an RKO from Randy Orton. Eats a super kick from Knight. And an RKO from Randy Orton to pick up for Owens to get eliminated. Orton and Drew McIntyre go at it for a little bit. Logan Paul tries to get involved, but he gets beat up a bit by the two veterans. Logan Paul is standing in the ring on his own for a little bit. Digs in his tights, brings out the brass knuckles, puts it on. Looks like he's ready to go. He's taunting a little bit. Yes. RKO from out of nowhere. Logan Paul eliminated. That just leaves Drew McIntyre versus Randy Orton. And they're blocking each other's moves. Drew goes for a future shock that gets blocked. Randy Orton goes for an RKO that gets blocked. Orton eventually gets the draping DDT, which is a great move. Tries for an RKO again that gets caught into a spine buster. Drew is set up for the Claymore kick, but Randy Orton collapses. Drew goes close. RKO. And as Randy is looking to go for the pin, KO punch from Logan Paul, who hasn't left the ring yet. Drew McIntyre covers Randy Orton to pick up the win and book himself for WrestleMania as he's going to take on Seth Rollins. And honestly, there's no more deserving guy. Drew actually won in the main event of WrestleMania 36, in which that was when the pandemic first happened, and there was no one at WrestleMania. They did WrestleMania in the Performance Center, which I don't want to go back there. Which he had his big moment against Brock, which that was pretty cool. But with no one there, it kind of cheapened the moment a little bit. So hopefully Drew here gets his moment, and we'll see. And now we go for our main event of the evening, and it's for the World Women's title, as Rhea Ripley takes on Nia Jax. And this was definitely a fun match, although at one point I did see something fall out of Rhea Ripley's ear. Like maybe she had an extender or something, but yeah, something was laying in the ring if you look back at it. But yeah, this match was maybe not technically all that great, but dang, Nia Jax has greatly improved since she came back. Although there was one point they were on the outside, Nia with a Samoan drop into the announce table. It didn't break. So then Nia with an elbow drop from the guardrail through the table, which honestly that was a pretty awesome moment. Back in the ring, goes for the Annihilator. That gets blocked. Rhea with the superplex, big kick into the Riptide to pick up the victory and retain her title. Besides that one little mishap in the beginning, this match was absolutely awesome. I think it was just what Rhea Ripley needed going into her match with Becky Lynch. Ooh, that's going to be a good one. As you can tell, I am definitely super hyped for WrestleMania. And we've only got like 4 matches announced, which is interesting. So we'll see how the rest of the card fills out. So that'll do it for me. I hope you all enjoyed. Please like the video. Comment what you thought of either show or both shows. And yeah, let's continue having a great one. This weekend we got AEW Revolution. And then we got a week's worth of pro wrestling. I can't wait. I hope you're excited. I know I am, as we're on the road to WrestleMania. Until next time, happy wrestling, everybody. Peace.